Okay, this is Lilo, bully stick. This is Ozzy, and this little guy right here is, why am I spacing on his name?
Scotty.
Scotty. Hey, Scotty. Yes. We'll leave a bully stick for you when we leave. This is their roadmap to success. So basically, the main reason I was called in here, and I got to say, I'm very frustrated to hear that a vet told the Guardians that Scotty should be put down because he's gone after Lilo a couple times. What I've seen is a dog that is possessive over some of its items, but I'm able to have the dog with Lilo playing with his items with him a foot away without any problems with him. He's only actually gone after Lilo once, and it was when I was kind of pushing the envelope a little bit. So if you have a dog that is aggressive towards other dogs, that does not mean it should be put down. Very, very rarely is that the case. Most vets don't take a lot of classes on dog psychology or dog social interaction. And I find a lot of them, they just default give drugs, which was also suggested here. But if your vet's first response is to tell you to put your dog down, I'd get a second opinion for sure. I very rarely see it be necessary. All right, so in the case of Scotty, I think that, like he's doing right now, he's marked the furniture by scent marking, by rubbing his shoulder and his face on it. And that's a way of claiming ownership of it. He also is very possessive of his toys. That's the primary reason why he's gone after Lilo here. And so that's related to it. Now, also, he just jumped up on one of his Guardians, and I've seen him do that throughout. Now, he is less responsive to these things than the rules than the other two dogs. But it's going to take a little bit of I think the Guardians now know what to look for. So one of the things we want to make sure we're doing is we're petting them with the purpose, specifically Scotty. So for Scotty, I would like the Guardians not to pet him anymore under any circumstances unless he does something to earn it. Asking him to sit is a very small ask. But the more that we ask him to sit and then reward him afterwards for sitting, the more he's going to identify as more of a follower, and the less he's going to think it's his position to correct Lilo or to bark when we have people coming by the house or the neighbor dogs are in the backyard or anything that he thinks is violation of his world. This is not Scotty's world that we're all just living in it, but he thinks that's the case. So the more that we enforce rules such as no furniture, having to sit before I go in and out of a door, having to sit and wait for permission to eat food that's waiting in my bowl, not being able to walk ahead of the humans up and down the stairs or down the hallway or through the room, having to move out of the humans' ways as the humans are walking towards me, the more of those things that happen, the more he's going to identify as a follower. Petting with a purpose is so valuable because when Scotty tells the humans what to do, they pet him, they listen to his orders, and that makes him think that he is responsible for them. And because the humans don't listen to his orders, that makes him stressed out. So if we can actually start removing the perception of authority from Scotty, so off. So once, I make it happen. Normally he'd still be barking at the motorcycle on the street because in his mind that's not something that should be going on. So petting with a purpose is one of the easiest things we can do. We're going to ask the dog to sit before we pet it, especially when he demands it. And that'll be helpful for all three dogs, but for Scotty, because he's the one that we're having problems with, it's going to be the most important for him. I'd also recommend the Guardians practice what I call passive training. So every time a dog does something we want, we're going to reward it and pet it and say that word. He just laid down. His Guardian's now petting him and saying chill. Even though we didn't ask him to lay down, he did it anyways. We're rewarding the end result and we're marking it with the word. We can also add positive reinforcement to things even when we're correcting a dog. So if one of the rules is the dog's not allowed to be on the couch and the dog jumps up on the couch without permission, when we tell it to get down, as soon as it gets down, we can pet it and say down. So we end the exercise as a positive association, and the dog starts feeling better about getting down because getting down gets me a reward. And also you can make a song and a living as a hip-hop artist. Let me see, what else? Passive training is going to be one of the easiest things you can do as well. So passive training and petting with a purpose. We also went over the escalating consequences to disagree with unwanted behaviors. And remember, always start with your hiss. You can find the list of the escalating consequences by going to Doggone Problems on the left side of the page. There'll be a search box when you're on the dog training tips or looking at any of the write-ups. Just type in escalating consequences. You'll see a bunch of sessions where I've talked about them and you can watch the video. Let's see what else. We would like to also train the dogs to stay behind at the top level of split level stairs when we answer the door. We're going to use those escalating consequences that I went over to accomplish that. We're going to really use the third consequence. And if you can go to Doggone Problems and type in door exercise, you'll see a bunch of videos where I explain that technique. We're going to use the technique that I went over here, where we're going to provide positive reinforcement every time that Lilo comes, or that the dogs interact with Lilo in a positive way. And we're going to watch out for those warning signs that I discussed in the video, the body communication that are saying that I'm not comfortable with the puppy, or I'm about to react to the puppy. I'd like to see the guardians adding structure to mealtime, so we're going to start having the humans eat first. The only dog that is allowed in the kitchen is going to be the dog who is eating food at the time. And if any of the dog takes a bite and walk away from the bowl and drop it on the ground, we pick up the bowl, we dump the food out of the bowl, put the empty bowl back down. That dog does not eat again until the next meal. If the dog realizes every time I leave my bowl with food in it, when I come back to my bowl, there's no food in it, I'm going to stop leaving it with food in there. And then they're going to sit there and eat all their food at once. Now for Lilo here, I would like Lilo, we talked about Lilo's guardian setting up a puppy playpen, which I think is going to be really beneficial in a lot of different ways. If we put a kennel in there with a soft cushion at the bottom of the kennel, and we leave the door always open, well then the dog will be kennel trained, because she's going to sleep in there on the only soft place in the puppy playpen is in the kennel, and the door is always open, so there's nothing negative about it. And after a while, when she's done that for a month or two, we actually start closing the door. It's no different thing for her. It also gives us the ability, a place to put her when we can't supervise her. And because we have Scotty occasionally going after her, putting her in a place where the guardian can feel comfortable will help affect the guardian's psychology and help her feel more confident and comfortable and not worry about it. The guardian's on edge. That can cause Scotty to be more reactive, because Scotty will interpret as Lilo as putting my guardian on edge. So we need to be very calm and relaxed throughout this whole process. I recommend getting a dog bed, like I suggested on Groupon. Make sure it's flat and tan, and then we're going to use the treats to motivate the dog to go there, like I talked about, and I can't remember what the word is, Denver. That way we can direct the dogs to go to Denver. I'd also recommend moving this couch away from the window, because it gives the dogs the ability to sit and look outside onto the street, and I think that enhances Scotty's perception that he is in charge. Sitting at the door, Scotty is really a pistol about this. And so, again, sit, then I'll open the door. If you don't sit, I'm going to walk away from the door for 1 minute, then for 2 minutes, then for 4 minutes. I'm only going to ask you once, and each time that you don't do it, you have to wait twice as long for me to give you the opportunity to do it. I'd like the guardians to start using the expression rerun or repeat if they hear anybody in the house saying the command word over and over. We're going to use the word vocabulary if we're using the wrong version of the word. If the word is come, we want to always say come, not good come, or not come here, not over here, or come boy. Just come. I recommend coming up with a separate command word for certain situations, like releasing the dog to go in or out of a door. If we give maybe one dog the command of freedom, one dog break, and one dog release, then that we can communicate to the dogs and let them out independently of each other without having to hold them back. We don't want to hold the dog back, because that oftentimes increases their intensity of their reaction. So teaching the dog to control itself and not being allowed to go out the door until it hears its command word is really beneficial. She's doing this right now to kind of get a better leverage. But if we're petting a dog and it puts its paw on top of our arm like she's doing now, that's a domination move. As soon as she does that, stop petting her. One of the dogs, I can't remember which one, will immediately flip over when we start petting to give the belly. That's too insecure. So the way we stop that is just immediately stop petting the dog as soon as it does that. I like the guardians, I can't remember if I went through this or not, but walk through the dogs. The dogs need to learn our job is to get out of the human's way. If the humans walk around the dogs, that's one of the ways of communicating to the dogs that they have more authority, because the humans are burning more energy to go around them. If the dog's asleep, we can step over to go around it, but if the dog's awake and cognizant, it's got to get out of the way. Let me see, what else? Trying to think. I think I've covered most of it. I'm going to show, I haven't done this yet, but after this video, I'm going to show the guardians a focus exercise with Scotty, which would be a nice way to redirect Scotty's attention and might be able to prevent them from a fight from occurring between the two dogs in the wrong situation. And the last little thing is Scotty is not an old dog, and so Scotty probably needs a little bit more energy burned. So if we're going to be doing things where Scotty might be a little bit more territorial or reactive to Lilo here, we can set Scotty up for success by having Scotty chase the laser in the backyard, or taking Scotty for a long walk, playing fetch, giving Scotty a recovery period so he's not panting, and then we work with them together. And one of the things that I suggested was possibly putting a tether. I don't know if we talked about this in the video. I think I might have mentioned the video. But if we take a leash, we run the end of the leash through the handle around the leg of the couch here and have it tucked on the couch. If we're working and we're worried that that Lilo is getting into Scotty's toys and might create a conflict, we can attach the leash to Scotty. Scotty rushes at Lilo. You can only get 4 feet away from the couch, and that way Lilo has room to get away. Now, don't let Lilo taunt him. I don't think she will. She's a puppy. But this way, that can, again, help the human psychologically feel more confident knowing that the dog can't get in there. But I think the puppy playpen is going to help a lot. Also, go to Quest Ed. Doggoneproblems.com/quest will take you to the Quest Ed section of the website where I have a ton of puppy training videos. Teach your dog to potty train, how to feed it out of toys, appropriate toys to get it, the benefit of feeding it carrots, how to create positive associations, all those things. Remember, when you're using the escalating consequences, the hiss works best if you can disagree with the dog before it does the wrong thing. The timing is really, really important for that. All right, well, I'm sure I'm leaving some things out, but the Guardians know they can always go to doggoneproblems.com and search for topics. I have about 5,000 dog training videos there that are free to watch. And they can always contact me directly. A text is going to be the fastest way to reach me. Lilo, we will see you in our puppy socialization class, hopefully for the rest of 101 and 201 and 301. Remember, everything that you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.